Unlock 3 miraculous secrets to experience divine wealth breakthroughs this September. In the quaint village of Heavenville, where the air buzzed with whispers of miracles and the chapel bells chimed with heavenly hope, lived Mary, an unwavering spirit and devoted mother of 3. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow, Mary knelt at her bedside, her heart heavy. The weight of medical bills for her youngest son pressed on her soul like a thick fog, challenging her faith in ways she never thought possible. Each night, she cried out to Saint Joseph, the protector of families, yet doubts curled like shadows around her heart. As September arrived, a renewed energy swept through the village. The local chapel was buzzing with anticipation for a special prayer meeting, promising divine wealth breakthroughs that seemed too good to be true. Mary felt a pull. Something deep within her soul whispered that she had to attend. The pastor, with his warm eyes and assuring presence, spoke words that struck like lightning, revealing 3 secrets that could unlock the hidden treasures of divinity. Tears filled Mary's eyes, a fleeting sense of hope ignited in her heart. Yet just as she began believing in abundance, the unthinkable happened. Her trusty family car sputtered and died. Panic gripped her as the thought of missed school runs and work loomed in her mind like a dark cloud. How could she take care of her family now? As she prayed desperately, an inexplicable peace washed over her, reminding her of the miracles she longed for. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As despair threatened to overtake her, a figure emerged from the twilight, an older man. His hands weathered yet warm, with an aura that radiated trust. I can help, he said, offering to repair her car for free. His testimony of overcoming financial hardship by relying on faith wrapped around Mary like a warm embrace. In that moment, hope flared anew. Tears of joy streamed down her cheeks. This was not just a repair, it was a testament of divine intervention. Inspired, Mary remembered the wise words of an elder in the village. Your faith has unlocked miracles, and abundance is on the horizon. Empowered, she resolved to embrace those secrets, to give thanks through tithing, to uplift others with acts of service, and to gather the community in prayer. As the days turned to weeks, the chapel thrummed with shared stories. Families who once faced darkness now shared their miracles in unison. Mary found herself at the epicenter of this awakening, her heart swelling with purpose. But just when fortune began to smile, doubt crept back in. Would these transient blessings hold? Standing between faith and fear, Mary's soul reverberated with a question. Would she lean into the divine promise of abundance or melt beneath her uncertainties? With each heartbeat, the season of miracles loomed ahead, ready to reveal a truth she couldn't yet fathom. She held her breath, ready for September to unveil the extraordinary breakthroughs that awaited her in the heart of her faith. The sun rose with a gentle glow on the morning of the first Sunday in September, bathing Heavenville in a warm embrace. The air was alive with expectation, and Mary felt the flutter of hope stirring deep within her. She donned her best dress and gathered her children, promising them a day filled with blessings. As they walked to the chapel, the familiar path seemed transformed. Flowers painted vibrant colors along the sides, and the birds, singing sweetly, echoed like heavenly praises. Mary's heart danced with gratitude as she whispered her thanks to God. Today felt different. Today felt like a promise. Upon entering the chapel, Mary was greeted by smiling faces and warm hugs. The atmosphere crackled with reverent energy as the pastor welcomed everyone. Today, we gather not just to pray, he proclaimed, but to rejoice in the abundance that is already within our reach. The congregation echoed his sentiment, a chorus of faith filling the sacred space. Mary sank into her seat, encircled by the fragrant hymn of candles and the sweet scent of renewal. As the service progressed, testimonies flowed like rivers of hope. One father spoke of unexpected job offers. A widow shared how she found peace after years of loneliness, and a family recounted the miraculous healing of their daughter. Each story resonated deeply in Mary's heart, stirring a yearning for her own miracle. As the pastor stood before them again, his voice warm and steady, he called for a moment of quiet reflection. Let us remember the secrets we have learned. First, give thanks, acknowledge the blessings you already have. Second, bless others with the kindness in your heart. And third, unite in prayer, for the heart of our community is the heartbeat of our miracles. With each word, Mary felt the weight lift from her soul. Even in her struggles, she was not alone. She closed her eyes, letting the pastor's voice wash over her. Faith is a seed, he continued, and what we water will grow. Now I invite each one of you to share a prayer request with your neighbor. Together, we will lift these burdens to God. Mary turned to the woman beside her, a soft smile exchanged between them. Confiding her struggles, she felt the warmth of shared experience and empathy. The woman listened intently, then placed a gentle hand on Mary's shoulder. You are stronger than you know, and together, we will pray for your son. The divine has great plans for you. A sense of deep connection wrapped around Mary, igniting something within her. The flame of faith grew brighter with each shared prayer, filling the chamber with an unshakable spirit of hope. After the service, as they stepped into the bright sunlight, Mary found the older man from her earlier encounter waiting by the steps. He smiled knowingly, his eyes reflecting a wisdom that felt both calm and inviting. Do you see it now? He asked softly. Miracles are not always grand. Sometimes they bloom in the little things, like the kindness of a community. Just as she began to respond, the sound of laughter from her children caught her attention. Their joy was infectious, and she felt her spirit lift. Life was unfolding around her, filled with possibilities. Yet as the day wore on, she couldn't shake a lingering worry. What if the blessings faded? What if her hope was just a fleeting moment? Standing before her home, gazing at the setting sun, Mary took a deep breath, catching the scent of earth and sky. Somewhere, in the depths of her heart, she knew she must trust. A voice, soft yet strong, filled her thoughts. What you believe will shape your reality. With renewed determination, she whispered a prayer of gratitude, ready to embrace whatever the days ahead might hold. A new spark of expectation turned in her mind, and she felt the excitement of the promises yet to unveil. Will you take the leap of faith? She wondered. Is abundance truly what awaits? Tomorrow's dawn beckoned with whispers of divine revelations, teasing the edge of her dreams. The morning light painted soft shadows as Mary awoke the next day. The promise of dawn felt heavier with expectation. She rose early, her heart a mix of hope and apprehension. The day ahead shimmered with potential, like dew on the grass, glistening and untouched. As she prepared breakfast, Mary recalled the pastor's words from yesterday. Faith is a seed. What had she done to nurture her faith? Had she watered it enough? The thought led her mind to her son, Nathan, and the struggle that weighed heavily on her heart. She looked at her children, their faces illuminated by the light streaming through the kitchen window. How she yearned to see them thrive. Her husband had been out of work for months, and worry had settled like a shadow over their home. But yesterday had sparked something in her. Hope had flickered back to life, and she desired to rekindle it into a flame. After the morning routine, Mary gathered her children, draping them in the warmth of her love. Today we will visit the prayer garden, she declared, her voice steady and filled with a determination that surprised even herself. The prayer garden was a cherished sanctuary in Heavenville. How many times had they all come together to kneel among the flowers, seeking guidance and blessings? Mary recalled the countless messages of hope spoken there. As they arrived, birds sang sweetly, and the air was fragrant with the scent of blooming flowers, as if welcoming them back. Offering her children the chance to explore the beauty around them, Mary found a quiet bench beneath a large oak tree. The sun filtered through the leaves, casting playful patterns on the ground. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath, enveloping herself in the sacred silence. Lord, she whispered, I'm here, open and ready. Show me the path. At that moment, a gentle breeze stirred, as if the very Spirit of God was caressing her cheek. Tears sprang to her eyes, not from sorrow but from an overwhelming wave of peace. It was a familiar tranquility that reminded her of God's faithfulness through the years. Suddenly, her thoughts wandered back to the conversations of the day before. Each testimony, each prayer offered, seemed to weave around her heart. The struggles of her fellow congregation echoed in her mind. Together, we will lift these burdens to God, the pastor had said, and she felt the draw to be a part of that collective faith. With renewed vigor, she set her heart toward bringing her community together. Perhaps small gatherings in their homes to share stories of hope and strength could nurture their faith. As she opened her eyes and looked at her children, laughter floated through the air, and a gentle warmth filled her heart. "Will you help me, God?" she sought aloud, knowing that this wasn't just about her. It was about the tapestry of lives connected through shared burdens and joys. Later that afternoon, as they walked home, a thought struck. What if she gathered their neighbor, Mrs. Thompson, to pray with her? A woman of great wisdom, known for baking bread that brought comfort. A community of prayer could spawn miracles through unity. Every heart could experience God's blessings more profoundly than before. With a deep breath, Mary felt the embers of courage spark in her heart. What if, by taking these small steps, she uncovered a pathway to the greater miracles she yearned for? Tomorrow promised to be a day of action. As she tucked her children into bed, she whispered a prayer for blessings not just for her family, but for all those whose lives entwined with hers. A divine mystery danced just out of reach, teasing her imagination with thoughts of what could come. What if all it took was a willingness to step forward, hand in hand into faith? Would she dare to reach out and invite others into this journey? Would she become the catalyst for a blossoming of miracles? The next morning, the sun rose with a renewed brightness, and the air felt charged with possibilities. Mary awoke with a sense of urgency in her heart. Today would be the beginning of something beautiful. She could feel it. After breakfast, she gathered her children close. "Today, I have a special plan," she said, her voice carrying certainty. They would invite Mrs. Thompson to share in prayer. The thought ignited a spark in Mary's spirit. Moments spent praying together could weave bonds stronger than any challenge they faced. As they walked over to their neighbor's house, her heart beat with anticipation. The journey felt like crossing a threshold into something sacred. With each step, she silently prayed for the right words, for wisdom to guide her. She envisioned Mrs. Thompson's gentle smile, the way her eyes sparkled with kindness and understanding. It was a comfort just thinking about it. Mary knocked on the door, and almost instantly, it creaked open. Mrs. Thompson stood there, her apron dusted with flour, a hint of surprise coloring her features. "Mary, what a lovely surprise." "Hello, Mrs. Thompson. We're on a little adventure," Mary said, excitement bubbling in her chest. "Can we come in? I'd love to pray together." Mrs. Thompson's eyes twinkled. "Oh dear. What a delightful idea." "Of course." Once inside, Mary felt enveloped in warmth. The fragrance of fresh bread danced in the air, inviting them into a cozy haven filled with the scent of comfort. The kitchen table, rustic and sturdy, stood ready for the gathering. They settled around the table, hands clasped together. Mary began, her voice trembling slightly but strong with purpose. "Lord, we come together today, seeking your presence. May our hearts be open to one another, and may we lift each other's burdens in faith." As Mary prayed, she could sense the weight of her worries lifting. Mrs. Thompson joined with her, adding heartfelt words that resonated through the small space like a melody of hope. Each woman was reflecting their own struggles, yet they became a harmonious chorus, rising together toward the heavens. After the prayer, Mrs. Thompson reached for the still warm bread. "Would you all like to share some?" she asked, breaking the loaf apart as if it were a sacred offering. The aroma filled the room, wrapping them in a comforting embrace. Sitting around the table, the conversation flowed like a gentle stream. They shared their fears, dreams, and stories of faith. The burdens once carried alone now felt lighter. Children exchanged laughter around them, the melody of shared joy echoing in the room. Mary felt a warmth radiate from her heart. It was clear that their simple gathering had created ripples of unity. In this little corner of the world, they were forging connections that could strengthen their community. As the hour passed, Mary sensed a growing excitement in sharing this joy with others. "What if we invite more friends?" she proposed. "We could create a space for prayer, just like this, where everyone can come and find solace." Mrs. Thompson nodded thoughtfully. "I believe it could be the start of something truly beautiful." Mary's spirit danced at the thought of expanding their little circle. They could not only share faith and support but also spread the seeds of hope far beyond their own homes. As Mary returned home with her children that day, she felt the lightness of faith taking root. What had begun as a small prayer gathering blossomed into a vision for greater connection. She contemplated all the possibilities. What if the entire town could come together? What if, through their shared journey, they could witness something miraculous unfold? In the fading light of the day, as she tucked her children into bed, Mary paused a moment, her heart filled with expectation. She whispered her prayer once more, "Lord, guide us in this journey. Show us the way to cultivate faith and community." What new paths would unfold before her? What divine plans awaited in the days to come? The mystery of faith beckoned her forward, echoing the hope within her soul. The dawn of the next day welcomed Mary with a sense of exhilaration. She awoke early, the sun spilling golden light across her room. It was a new beginning, a time for growth. Today, she would reach out beyond her own circle, and she felt it deep within her soul that God was in this. After breakfast, inspired by the previous day's gathering, Mary sat down with her children and mapped out her plan. "We're going to invite the whole neighborhood," she said, her eyes sparkling with determination. "We can pray together, share meals, and support each other." The weight of her vision was tangible. The children buzzed with excitement, their imaginations weaving visions of new friends and shared joys. It was a delightful chaos in the kitchen as they prepared invitations, each one a sweet proclamation of the love they would extend. Their laughter filled the room, sowing seeds of hope in every corner. As they finished, Mary's heart raced with anticipation. She ventured outside, taking a deep breath of the fresh air filled with promise. One by one, she visited the homes nearby. As she knocked on each door, a sense of urgency ignited within her. The conversations that followed unfurled like beautiful petals, each neighbor warmed by her sincerity. "Mrs. Baker," she exclaimed at the home of an elderly woman known for her kindness, "we're gathering for prayer and fellowship. It would mean so much if you could join us." Mrs. Baker's eyes sparkled, and she nodded enthusiastically. As Mary continued her visits, she noticed how the smallest gestures, a smile, a gentle invite, seemed to carry weight. It was as if the air itself shimmered with possibility. She could feel God working through her, nudging her along with subtle encouragements that were simply too wondrous to ignore. Later that evening, as twilight painted the sky, Mary gathered her children again. "Tomorrow, we'll bring everyone together," she said, her voice steady but filled with anticipation. "Let us prepare for a bigger meal, and offer our prayers as one." That night, Mary knelt by her bed, the weight of her aspirations resting heavily on her heart. "Lord, please bless our gathering. Let it bring your presence into our homes. May we share in laughter and in grace." As her words faded into silence, she felt enveloped in peace. A wave of warmth washed over her, a reminder that she was never alone in her journey. Morning arrived with the sounds of birds chirping, and Mary set to work preparing for the gathering. She baked bread, the aroma wafting through her home like a comforting embrace. Each dish she cooked was infused with love, a tangible offering to her neighbors. Soon her home became a hive of activity. People began arriving, each bringing their own stories and burdens. Mary welcomed them with open arms, feeling the radiance of Goddess love enveloping the space. Children mingled, laughing and playing, filling every nook with joy. As they settled around the table, Mary looked at the group, so diverse yet so connected in this sacred moment. She began, her voice steady, "Let us start with a prayer. We are here not just as neighbors but as family, united in love and faith." Her words floated across the crowd, resonating in the hearts of everyone present. It wasn't just a meal, it was a divine communion. Laughter and joy harmonized beautifully with the solemnity of their prayers. The gathering unfolded like a tapestry, each moment weaving stronger ties between their spirits. As stories were shared, the atmosphere thickened with divine presence. Mary couldn't help but feel that this was only the beginning. But even as they celebrated, a gentle fear nudged at her heart. What if they faced challenges ahead? What if doubt crept in like a thief in the night, threatening to dim the light they had kindled? Mary quieted her thoughts, embracing the divine mystery unfolding. With every soul gathered, she realized the courage to keep faith alive was powerful. She looked around the room, filled with faces radiant in the soft light. What beautiful journeys awaited them all. What miracles had yet to be revealed. And, as she prayed once more over the gathering, she sensed a stirring within her that promised even greater things to come. The gathering swelled with laughter and conversation, a chorus of fellowship ringing throughout the house. Mary's heart danced at the sight. It felt as if the very walls were whispering secrets of joy. Each interaction a thread woven into a larger tapestry of hope. That as they shared in the meal, a sense of unity took hold. Neighbors who had been mere acquaintances now leaned into one another, exchanging not just food, but stories of grace and struggle. Mary listened with a full heart, taking in each tale that unveiled deeper layers of their lives. Just then, a soft voice broke through the din. It was young Clara, Mrs. Baker's granddaughter. "Aunt Mary," she said shyly, "can I say a prayer?" The room quieted as all eyes turned to her. Clara's small hands clasped tightly together as she spoke. Her words simplistic yet powerful. She thanked God for bringing everyone together, and asked for continued blessings for each family present. When she finished, Mary felt a wave of emotion wash over her. Here was a child, unburdened by the world's doubts, speaking directly to the heart of the matter. It illuminated the gathering further, sparking something deep within everyone. It was a reminder that faith didn't always need to be grand or lofty. Sometimes, it simply flowed from an innocent heart. As dessert was served, a beautifully simple apple pie. Mary stood back for a moment, observing the scene. The joy bubbling around her was palpable. She thought of the time and effort it had taken to put everything together, but it all felt worthwhile as she witnessed the bonds forming. Yet in that moment of joy, another wave of anxiety flickered in her heart. Would this connection last beyond this evening? Would they continue to lean on one another as they faced struggles in their lives? Her gaze settled on the children, their faces lit with delight. Then, she caught sight of Mrs. Baker, who was smiling as she shared a laugh with a younger neighbor. "Mary," Mrs. Baker called softly, "I've been thinking this gathering is just the beginning, isn't it? We need to do this more often. There are many who couldn't make it tonight, and I fear they might feel left out." A spark ignited in Mary's mind as she considered Mrs. Baker's words. "Yes, there's a need here, isn't there? We could do a monthly meeting, maybe even special prayer nights. This could be a space for everyone to find community." Excitement began to flow through the room again, with various neighbors chiming in with their thoughts and ideas. They discussed how they could reach out to others, those who were silent or shy, those who needed help or simply a kind word. But even as visions of future gatherings danced in her mind, doubt lingered like a shadow. What was she thinking? Did she have the strength to lead something this profound? "Lord, guide us," she whispered softly as they continued their discussions. "Help me to trust in your plan." With each shared laugh and every twinkling eye, Mary sensed a deeper connection to something far greater than themselves. It was as if the Holy Spirit was breathing life into their intentions, blessing their hearts to intertwine in unity. What if this was just the start of a movement that could bring more light into their community? As conversations grew more animated and ideas flowed freely, one thought surfaced: what could happen if they extended their reach even further? What mountains could they move if they joined together in prayer and purpose? The promise of hope hung thick in the air, inviting them all to step out in faith. And just as the clock ticked toward the end of their beautiful gathering, Mary caught a glimpse of the work ahead. She felt the divine nudging again, encouraging her to move forward despite her fears. What awaited them on this journey beyond their initial steps? What divine tests and blessings would shape their hearts next? As she looked around at their shared smiles and hopeful eyes, Mary knew their adventure was only beginning. As the evening unfolded, the warmth of fellowship surrounded them like a comforting blanket. Laughter and conversation rippled through the room, each voice adding to the symphony of community life. Mary paused, letting the moment wash over her. The air was thick with promise, yet an undercurrent of uncertainty danced at the edge of her heart. "Can you believe how together we are?" a neighbor exclaimed, breaking her reverie. Ben, a gentle man who had always been quick with a smile, raised his glass in a toast. "To new beginnings! To new beginnings!" they echoed, their voices rising in a joyful chorus. But what lay beneath those words? Mary felt the flutter of possibility, intertwined with the weight of responsibility. Could she really lead such a venture? She could see the doubts mirrored in the faces of those she gathered with. Each person bore their own struggles, silent edges of pain hidden behind cheerful reflections. Conversation drifted toward plans. Yet Mary knew they needed more than just activities. They needed spiritual anchoring. "What if we didn't just meet to share meals and stories?" she suggested. Her voice steady despite the stirring anxiety within. "What if we gathered to pray for one another? To uplift and support through moments of darkness?" A buzz of agreement enveloped the room. It was as if her words had ignited a spark in them all, each heart wanting to be part of something larger. "Absolutely," chimed Clara, who had been listening intently. "We could send up prayers for everyone, even people we don't know." The room nodded, each neighbor marveling at the innocent wisdom of a child. They saw in Clara's enthusiasm not just a promise of hope, but an image of what their community could become, an extension of love reaching beyond their immediate circle. "Some of us know others who hurt or are alone," Mrs. Baker added, her eyes glistening with unspoken memories. "We can't forget them. Let each meeting be an opportunity to pray for someone different every time." Mary's heart filled with warmth. They were not just talking about gathering. They were venturing into the heart of divine connection. The moments spent together, she realized, could weave a beautiful tapestry of shared prayers and support that lifted them beyond their struggles. As they began exchanging ideas about who they could pray for, the atmosphere shifted from mere excitement to a holy reverence. A presence, gentle yet palpable, seemed to wrap around them. Mary sensed it like a breeze that carried something sacred. "Let us not just meet. Let us be instruments of healing," she said softly. "Let us ask God what He needs from us." Each neighbor bowed their heads, their hearts open, trust woven into their vulnerability. This was a turning point. Maybe God was ready to move, and they were blessed to be part of it. "Lord, lead us," they murmured in unison. "Guide our hearts, our words, and our actions as we seek your will." The sincerity in that moment echoed against the walls. A palpable request for divine clarity. Just then, the lights flickered softly, as if the heavens were responding. "Did you feel that?" Clara's voice broke through the silence. There was a collective pause. Some nodded, others exchanged glances, but Mary felt the unmistakable nudge within her heart. Something significant was unfolding. Could it be that they were on the brink of a true awakening? What if, Mary thought, her mind racing, what if this community became a catalyst for miracles? What if God stepped in and transformed lives through our prayers? A shiver ran through her, as deeply rooted hope blossomed. Each person in the room was chosen to be a part of a grander story, and together, they were about to embark on a journey cloaked in faith. What awaited them as they ventured into this prayerful exploration? What untold stories of grace could emerge from the night's gentle surrender? More importantly, how would their lives shift toward the miraculous as they opened their hearts fully? As the gathering continued, the air thickened with divine anticipation, and the promise of something beautiful loomed ever closer. The silence that followed Clara's question settled like a gentle fog. Mary could sense a shift in the atmosphere, as if the air itself was infused with a divine energy, urging them to lean deeper into their shared purpose. A quiet conviction settled in each heart, stirring a collective longing for something greater. "Let us each take a moment," Ben suggested, his voice calm and reassuring, "to reflect on what we've just committed to. What needs do we see around us? Who can we lift up?" One by one they bowed their heads, eyes closed. Thoughts turned toward loved ones struggling, neighbors in need, and even strangers whose burdens weighed heavily on their hearts. Mary felt the warmth of community embrace each individual, wrapping them in a blanket of compassion. It was a moment pregnant with potential. "I think of Sarah," Mrs. Baker said softly, her voice trembling slightly. "She lost her husband last year, and still hasn't found her footing." A gentle murmur of agreement rippled through the group, empathy flowing like a river. "And what about James? He has been distant lately," Mary added, thinking of the young man who had once been so full of joy. "He needs to feel that he is not alone." A soft chorus of names rose from the circle, each one a thread connecting them all, weaving tighter with every utterance. Clara, her youthful spirit glowing, smiled excitedly. "Can we also pray for the children in hospital? They need our prayers so much." "Absolutely," Mary said, heart swelling. Children embody our hope and future. Then, sensing a deeper call, she said each week, let us start by lighting a candle for our intentions. A symbol of our prayers reaching up to the heavens. An excellent idea, Ben exclaimed, his eyes sparkling with fervor. A visible reminder of our hope. The group's energy transformed once again, this time charging with an empowering vitality. They weren't just a collection of hopeful hearts. They were a force for change, made stronger together. With every name listed and every prayer offered, the divine tapestry of interconnectedness became clear. As Mary looked around the room, she saw heads nodding with earnestness. They weren't just speaking hope. They were coming together to manifest it. But deep down, a whisper of doubt echoed through her soul. Did they truly understand the depths of their endeavor? Could they sustain this journey over time? Suddenly, a hush fell over them as Clara stood with her small hands raised. Can we pray right now for these people? She suggested, eyes alight with fervor. Can we ask God to touch their hearts as we are doing? Her boldness sparking something sacred. The group grasped hands, forming a circle of faith. Mary took a breath, calling upon the divine spirit within them. Lord, we lift up Sarah, James, and all those in need. Surround them with your love. Help us to be your instruments. As they prayed, the room blossomed with fervor, words flowing freely as hearts genuinely opened. Mary could sense the rush of their collective hopes rising to the heavens. A sensation of warmth enveloped them, like a soothing balm washing over their doubts and fears. She felt more than just a gathering. They were truly stepping into being vessels of hope and transformation. When they finished, the room felt charged with a sacred energy, each person still holding on to the collective prayer. But as they opened their eyes, Mary couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. What if God has a bigger plan for us? She whispered, a thought blossoming deep within. Yes, Clara said excitedly. What if this prayer group was meant to become something powerful? But before anyone could respond, there came a soft knock at the door. Every head turned toward the sound, a new presence about to enter their lives, carrying unknown possibilities and divine mysteries. Who could it be at such an hour? With hearts racing and anticipation mounting, they exchanged glances laced with both excitement and wonder. What awaited them on this new journey? And how would their faith unfold in ways they couldn't yet comprehend? The soft knock echoed in the tense silence, an invitation steeped in the unknown. As Mary stood at the center of the circle, a palpable electric energy danced in the air. With hesitant steps, she approached the door, uncertainty threading its way through her heart. What new purpose might come knocking? With a deep breath, she opened the door. Standing there was a woman, slightly older than Mary, with an aura of calm that seemed to radiate warmth. The woman had gentle eyes that sparkled with wisdom and a voice as smooth as honey. Hello, my name is Naomi, she said, stepping forward. I felt led to come because there's something God wants to share with this group. Mary invited her in, motioning for Naomi to join them in their circle. Curiosity overflowing like a spring. The others looked on with equal parts wonder and caution. This newcomer embodying both humility and grace. As Naomi settled in, the energy shifted once more, beckoning them into deeper realms of faith. I've been praying for the hearts of people, including you, Naomi began. And I believe God called me here tonight to share his message. There is immense power when we gather in prayer. A flutter of anticipation rippled through the group. Mary felt herself lean in, yearning for revelation. What do you want us to understand? She silently asked, her heart open to the quiet whisper of the Spirit. Naomi continued, her words flowing like a stream of clarity. Your intentions matter. The burdens you carry for others are not in vain. You see, every prayer is like a seed planted in the fertile ground of faith, and when nurtured, they grow into miracles. A soft murmur of agreement filled the space. Clara's eyes sparkled, reflecting a dawning excitement. Can we talk about how those miracles come? Naomi nodded, her smile revealing a deep understanding. Yes, prayer changes things. Sometimes it's not just about asking. It's about trusting in God's timing, being open to where he leads. You must remember, while you have each other, God has a plan for each of your lives. Mary felt a shift within. There was a truth resting in those words, laying new foundations deep in her heart. So the journey of prayer is just beginning, she thought. Let us each share a personal struggle, an area where we feel blocked, Naomi suggested. The idea sparked an immediate resonance in the circle. They began to confess their fears, vulnerabilities spilling out like raindrops on parched earth. I've been struggling with feelings of unworthiness, Ben shared. Sometimes I wonder if I'm meant for something greater. I feel so lost in my career, Mrs. Baker admitted, biting her lip. I just don't know if I'm on the right path anymore. As each spoken worry transformed into prayer, Mary witnessed their burdens lift like dark clouds clearing under the warmth of the sun. Naomi artfully guided their confessions into prayers of release, each one a step closer to divine purpose. Every barrier you feel is an opportunity for God's light to shine through, Naomi encouraged. When you embrace vulnerability, you invite growth. Trust that your struggles can bear beautiful fruit. The room embraced Naomi's words, hearts ignited with hope. Mary felt the significance of this moment, understanding that struggles were stepping stones. They were not contributions to despair, but rather invitations to deeper faith. As the evening drew on, and their prayers wove into the fabric of the room, Naomi's presence felt like a blessing they hadn't anticipated. But with the deepening miracles danced the uncertainty of questions what lay ahead in their journey of faith. And as they opened their hearts, what incredible encounters awaited them. Just then, a soft light flickered from the lit candle, illuminating a shadowed corner of the space. With a gentle smile, Mary turned to the others. What if this is just the beginning of our journey? What wonders can unfold from our prayers? Hope filled the air like sweet perfume. Yet the mysterious next steps remained unknown. What might God unveil in their lives next? As dawn broke over Heavenville with the soft symphony of birdsong, Mary awakened with a heart full of hope and determination. She had not merely gathered her neighbors, they had formed a family of faith. She could still hear Naomi's words echoing in her mind. Every prayer is like a seed planted in fertile ground. The thought invigorated her spirit. What flowers would burst forth from their collective hopes? Today was not just another day. It was a leap toward divine destiny. After breakfast, she gathered her children, their infectious laughter filling the house with warmth. Today, we will prepare a special invitation, she announced. Not just for our friends, but for anyone in need. We will open our hearts and homes wider than ever before. Excitement crackled in the air as they worked together, crafting heartfelt invitations to allow others to experience the miracles they had begun to witness. With each hand-drawn card, they felt like architects of faith, building pathways to hope rather than barriers to despair. Mary's children, fueled by innocent zeal, colored the cards with bright hues of joy, visual symbols that this was an open door of possibility. As they set out to distribute their creations, the sun hung high, embracing them with warmth and light. A ripple of intention flowed through the village. People were curious, intrigued by the zest and purpose of Mary and her children. Each knock on a neighbor's door was not just an invitation, but a benevolent act, a call back to community. We'd love for you to join us, Mary exclaimed, her smile bright with promise. To her surprise, the response was overwhelming. Families who had drifted apart found encouragement to reconnect. Fears transformed into prayers of thanksgiving. That evening, as they prepared for the gathering, Mary's home burst with good energy. The scent of fresh bread mingled with laughter, while children played, weaving the tapestry of joy that enveloped them all. When evening arrived, the room overflowed with faces so many who sought solace and connection. Mary stood in awe, witnessing the beauty of each heart coming together like pieces of a divine puzzle. "Welcome everyone," she called, her voice steady, the excitement bubbling within her. "Tonight, we not only share food but stories and prayers, miracles we have witnessed, and hope we yearn for." The air felt charged with an overwhelming sense of purpose. What had begun as one woman's yearning had blossomed into a vital community of believers. They gathered around the table, hands clasped, ready to speak their intentions aloud. "Let us recount the blessings," Mary invited. "And remember the power in our prayers." As each person spoke, the gratitude flowed like a mighty river. Sarah shared how she felt God had guided her through grief into newfound strength, while James spoke of job offers that had seemed impossible. "It's you all who lifted me up," he declared, eyes sparkling with joy. Clara chimed in, still full of innocence. And I just know more miracles are coming. Mary's heart swelled as she listened. Each testimony was a testament to their gathering's power and purpose, a signal of divine abundance in each other's lives. The moment felt sacred, infused with an undeniable presence. Could she have imagined that these small acts of kindness had led to such mighty shifts? And just when doubt nudged at the edge of her conscience, the lights flickered again, as if affirming their unity. Each heart responded with a gentle gasp of awe, smiles breaking across faces. Their faith was awakening something greater. So they prayed together, hearts united in one voice, each spoken word lifting into the heavens, intertwined with unshakable hope. Mary whispered her thanks to God for this very moment. You've led us here, Lord. May we honor your gifts through our collective mission, she prayed. And she knew this was just the beginning. That night, as the last candles flickered and laughter lingered in the air, a sense of deep peace settled over the gathering. It was as if they had all joined hands across a bridge vast and supportive, a pathway to miracles unfolding. Mary looked around at the faces she now considered family. Across from her, Mrs. Baker smiled knowingly. This feels transcendent, doesn't it? As if we shone brighter together. Yes, it truly does, Mary responded, heart swelling with gratitude. What we have is priceless. Miracles are within reach. We must keep nurturing this. As the evening waned, they exchanged not only promises of future meetings, but threaded their lives into one another's stories. Mary understood now the seeds of faith they planted together would yield a bountiful harvest. They were woven into a divine tapestry, with a shared mission. This was a holy assembly, an interaction that radiated life. With goodbyes layered in warmth and joy, everyone departed, hearts full, eyes glimmering with hope. In the quiet aftermath, as Mary closed the door behind her, she felt the divine presence enveloping her. Each sacred interaction had become a mosaic of miracles, an acknowledgement of their connectedness through God's grace. She took a deep breath, the weight of love and purpose filling her. Thank you, Lord, she whispered, standing before the flickering candles, the warmth wrapping around her like a beloved cloak. For all that we are, the community, the connections. Please lead us on this path of faith. As she encouraged her children to rest, Mary made one last prayer. She felt the stirring in her spirit. This was not an ending, but a new beginning filled with the promise of abundant life. And just like that, even as endless possibilities unfurled before her, she knew she had embarked on a journey that would forever shape her heart and community. Miracles awaited. Remember, dear friends, this is your moment to shine. If you felt the energy of connection through this story, don't hesitate. You need to subscribe now to our channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help spread this message of hope. Comment below your thoughts and testimonies about this ending. We would love to hear from you. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. Don't wait even one more second to uplift others with the light of your faith. Together, let us illuminate the world.